I just want to acknowledge and thank all of you for being here today. This is one of several DEI series that Renee's been putting on for ISPI SoCal. So it's kind of, I'm excited to be in this space with you and learn and grow together and hear from some awesome speakers during this time. So I just thought this quote was very apropos for starting our discussion and what we're going to be doing and leaning into. Sometimes you change your mind, sometimes your mind changes you. And I feel like that's going to be a lot taking place over this next year together. So just kind of quick run through of what we're going to be doing. We will have a little check-in, get to know each other a little bit better, do some reflection and talk about the calendar of events, as well as some of the takeaways that we'll have for this time together, and then do a little checkout, Q&A and checkout before we close. So maybe we won't even take the full hour. Maybe we'll take more time because of just rich, deep conversations and getting to know each other. I won't hold you over an hour, promise. So I'm going to share this here, and then my screen's going to go away so we can see each other's faces again. But just want to get to hear everyone who you are, other than being able to read your names in your little box. But where you are, what brought you here, and what is one quality you possess that makes you a good listener? Just one quality that you possess that makes you a good listener, because we will be listening to a lot of people as well as listening to each other during this series. So why don't we go ahead and just drop that in, and I will start to model the way, and I'll pick someone to go next. But my name's Giuseppe. I go by Joey. I am in Los Angeles, Santa Monica, to be exact, and actually even more precise, I'm in a shared workspace. So if you see me put a mask on, it's because people are walking by saying, "Put your mask on." What brought me here is Renee. I have found great energy and passion within this space to learn, do better myself, and to try to just make the world a better place. Really, it's selfish because I'm looking out for my kids, and my wife is half Japanese, and want to make sure that my kids, my daughter and son, grow up in a world that will treat them fairly and just. What is one quality I possess that makes me a good listener? I would say I'm a good listener, but one quality I possess is, I'll say heart, is that I don't just listen with my ears, but I try to listen with my heart. So I will pass the mic on to, how about Sam? Go to you first.
Sounds good. Thanks, Joey. My name is Sam, or Samantha Louie, and I am from Portland, Oregon. And what brought me here today is actually Joey. He sent the invite along, so thank you for letting me join you today. And one quality that makes me a good listener is probably that I really try to be present when I'm with people and really take in everything that they are saying. And not only that, and it's a little hard in a virtual environment, but like body language and the environment, just really working on being present. And I will pass the virtual microphone to Renee.
Hello all, my name is Renee Freeman, and I am sitting here in what is normally sunny California, but it's rainy today. And what I would say is this aspect of holding space for others, but also a deep curiosity based on continually finding out how much I don't know that I don't know. And on that note, Pretty, I'm going to pass the mic to you.
Sure. My name's Preeti Guman. I am a civil engineer. I work for the LA County Sanitation Districts, and I got a scam call. I was brought here by Erwin. I attended an event with a professor from Pepperdine last year, and it was really amazing. So, and I'm just have a curious mind. One thing that I'm still working on listening because I'm an extrovert, so I often do more talking. But for listening, it is empathy. And I guess I got to this space because I'm Indian American, but I was raised in a way that didn't see gender and race. So it's taken me 25 years to kind of realize that people see me differently than I see myself. So I've kind of started processing those kind of things.
I guess I'll go. I'm Erwin Jankovic. I am in Los Angeles as well. And what brought me here is I have a lot of interest in the subject of treating people well and respectfully and fairly, largely from my moral background. That's kind of how I look at the world. And from an organization perspective, my organization is also trying to do diversity, equity, and inclusion work. I have made an effort, because I'm curious too, I have made an effort to just educate myself on a lot of different ways people discuss this topic. And I think I'm a good listener mostly, but I have a point of view. And so when I listen, I'm trying to find things. And so far, I found very few things that have persuaded me that most organizations are doing this subject the right way. And so I'm continuing to look, and I agree with Preeti. I think one of the real missing elements, the core missing element, is building empathy in the organization towards other people. And so what goes on is not that. And so, anyway, so I like the subject, but I haven't found too many places. I found some that hint at solutions to me, but I think people are missing the boat. And am I a good listener when I want to be? It's hard when you have a point of view. And so the other side of that coin is I know that I have strong points of view about things. And so I like to hear how other people approach those things so I can see if I want to change my point of view.
So it's up to me now. Let's see, do I have, yes, okay, I'm not muted. I'm Sue Gabriel, and I'm in Los Angeles, along with Renee and Erwin. And what brought me here is I do love our topic words and our topic diversity, equity, and inclusion. And as a matter of fact, that my work is designed to increase that. And let's see, I have to say the quality that I possess that makes me a good listener, experience, maybe not just age, and experience. One motto we have in our roundtable is, this is what I've learned, we can break the sound barrier when we travel faster than the speed of sound. We can break the communication barrier when we hear 30 authentic viewpoints in 30 minutes. That's what I've learned. So good to be here.
Sue, that's beautiful. I like that. I think we will have the opportunity to listen from several viewpoints during this year, from live sessions, which we'll talk about in a second, as well as some recordings from last year's series that we'll have time to hold roundtable discussions together. So it'll be open to people beyond just the 6 of us. other members of ISPI, and then anyone else who wants to participate. And to Erwin's comment, well, maybe this will change your point of view. The information that we share will maybe change into the first quote. Maybe we'll change all of our point of views. That's just how we do. We just continue to grow. I am going to throw up my slides one more time. And here's kind of a word cloud. You may have saw this on the invitation that you accepted. There's a flurry of words on here that are within the DEI space and social justice. And so I want you to take a look at this list, and in the chat, go ahead and pick the word or phrase that resonates with you. What stands out for you? And I don't mean what stands out as far as the biggest letters on the screen. What word, reading through all this, what word really like hits for you, resonates for you? And go ahead in the chat. You don't have to wait to hit submit, but go ahead in the chat and type in that word that stands out for you. We just did a little exercise to kind of say what words resonated with us looking at this whole list. And, it also demonstrates kind of our perspective and where we're coming at into this space. I think we will have the opportunity to explore that deeper during this next year. And I invite us that as we're doing this, it will probably spark questions that we can ask our panelists, our speakers from our perspective of justice and gender, allyship, equality, culture. We'll be coming at it from, it seems, from those angles. Not saying that the other words, the other emphases aren't important, but we chose kind of what stood out for us. And so, as with our check-in and our opening quote, I invite you to share your perspective from the angle that you're coming from, and also to listen from the perspectives of each other and where we're going to go. And I also invite us and ask for your grace that I am a white male, cisgender white male, that I don't know everything in this space, and I am going to be learning with all of you. And so I invite you to call me into the conversation if ever I do anything that I can learn from, so I can do better next time. And I ask us just to do the same with each other. And I will come back to the calendar in a second. I ask us to do the same with each other, that we are creating this safe space together. And at the start of every session, we'll mention this again, but how we can grow and do better next time, that I will support each of you, and I ask that you do the same to support me. Is that a fair request? Without really knowing each other, we'll get to know each other. So let's jump back to the calendar, and we have an action-packed schedule for the rest of 2021. So today's the second Thursday of March. So we kind of rolled with the second Thursday throughout the rest of the year. We have our first live presenter being Stacy Gordon, who has done a lot of work in unconscious bias. She's one of the leading LinkedIn learning videos that you might find on unconscious bias. And she has a book coming out called Unbiased on March 30th. So she'll be coming in and kind of sharing her perspective. We'll have the opportunity to kind of ask questions from our perspectives in this space. And then in May, what we try to do is layer all the live presentations with reflection discussions. So in May, we'll have the opportunity to come back together as a team. And those who couldn't participate in the live section will be able to watch the recording and participate in the discussion to say, what did we learn? What insights did we have? What struck us because an hour isn't a lot of time for Stacy to share and for us to ask a lot of questions and really reflect. So I want to make sure that we have time to do that as well. And then June, we have a live recording, or excuse me, a recording from 2020's session on cultural proficiency leadership. And all the sessions that were held last year, there were 4, 2 that we'll really make sure that we get to this year that align with what some of our live presenters. So June 10th will be that first discussion. So we'll be inviting you to watch the recording for that session ahead of time. And then July 8th, Fred Miller, who's works at one of the oldest DE&I consulting firms in the nation, will be one of our speakers, and he'll be talking more at the organizational level with moving from being an exclusive organization to being more inclusive and creating that space for each other. And then another great recording that we'll get into in September with the art of alignment. And then October, November, we're still working on securing a speaker, but we've got a couple people in mind as well as topics. So just keep an eye out for that. All that being said, there's a little asterisk onto this, and Renee was great at reminding me that dates and speakers are subject to change. So we are hopefully, knock on wood, wherever you have wood, that we will be somewhat out of this pandemic this year, which means things may be going to live in-person meetings, which also means that there might be different pulls on our own schedules as well as the speaker schedule. So any of the recording and reflection discussions won't change too much unless it's an availability for some of our live speakers. Renee, anything else? Any other disclaimers regarding? Okay. The other thing to mention is membership. So these events are free to all ISPI members, ISPI SoCal members. These events are free. These learnings are free of charge. For anyone who is not an ISPI SoCal member, I don't know, is anyone here an ISPI SoCal, not an ISPI SoCal member? Pretty. These events will be $10 per person or per event. If you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 events, but ISPI SoCal membership is $40 a year. So I don't have to do the math. I think that explains. Join ISPI SoCal. There's the general plug. And Sam, you are actually a current student in your master's program. Student membership is only $20 annually. So you get even more bang for your buck with this learning and membership. So free for all. Erwin, yeah.
It's even better than that. We do 3 events a month. Sue does one, and the core ISPI Southern California does one too. So we have essentially 36 events a year, about an hour each, for $40 a year, or $20 for 6 months.
Yeah.
Erwin, you made it.
And to tag on, just to be clear, Erwin is head of membership, so he knows all that.
He knows all about that.
He's on the board. And then Joey's events in DE&I are just one of our groupings, or our salad plate of offerings within the DE&I group, and there's more.
Actually, Renee, do you want to mention some of the upcoming ones? I think there's one coming up with, yeah, go ahead, podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. If for those of you who want to do a deep dive in what does it mean to look at the structure of how whiteness occurs, that's going to be a deep dive into that history. And so Joey and I have done this program in the past. It's really dynamic. People get excited about it. We've had teachers that have talked about, how did I not know this? I was a teacher, a history professor, and it is multiracial. And so again, it is looking at it as a structure, not as a self-identifier, but as a structure. And then we have other great ones coming up. We have another one on Asian American history coming up.
Awesome. So there's a lot of offerings for ISPI. There's a lot of offerings for DE&I. I think with what Erwin was saying, you're basically paying $1 an event by joining. Can't beat that. And Preeti, you mentioned, you dropped something in the chat about USC. What do they got going on?
Yeah, I'm an alumni of the MPA program at USC and on the Public Policy School Board. And they have this week called Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. And I think every group in USC is putting on a presentation. So I attended some on Tuesday, and they were excellent. And I asked, and they're recording them, and they're going to be putting them on the website in the future. So I dropped the link, and I think they have like 20 a day. So there's a lot, but they talked about crucial conversations. And I went to one with this executive of DreamWorks and a professor at USC and a lawyer talking about best practices in organizations. And it was very good. So I just wanted to let you know it's a free offering to the community.
Thanks, Preeti. And actually, do you mind mentioning the video or the film that you talked about earlier?
Oh, sure. So there's 2 films that have recently come out in 2020. One is Pioneers in Skirts, and it talks about women with ambition, and they're having an event right now at the UN Status of Women Conference, where you can screen the film for free if you sign up on the LinkedIn till the 17th, and then the filmmakers will be there on the 18th to have an event at the conference. And the filmmakers also from USC. That's how I found out about it. And the other movie is Picture a Scientist, which talks about women in STEM. And that is a movie that has been shown in Congress and also is in conjunction with the National Academies of Sciences. So they're both movies that have been at like the Tribeca Film Festival and have come out about experiences in science and women experience in the workforce.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that.
Sure.
And just want to extend this invitation to others as well as those that are just listening to the recording. If there's other learnings outside of ISPI SoCal, please bring them to this group. This is great for us to continue to grow and learn in this space. Don't want to take anything away from ISPI SoCal. Just this is an added benefit to being a member of this community to learn from each other's larger network.
Well,
I don't know, Erwin, is that okay? Can I make that plug?
Oh, it's just fine. No, there are a lot of us floating around. We have various groups around here. And so, the mix of discussions about topics and, longer or shorter formats provides you a lot of interesting opportunities. And so across the board, Sue has an hour or an hour and a half meeting where they go over a topic. And the people in the room participate in the discussions. Everybody in that room shares their thoughts about a particular topic of the month. And so it's a fun way to pick up information and meet people and network and so forth. So.
And I've added that. I just sent that to everybody. Our roundtable article this month is When We Have to Learn by Unlearning. And it's going to be Friday, April 2nd. And it's on our ISPI website.
Which is also relevant to this topic we're discussing today.
Yes.
Awesome. Thanks, Erwin. Thanks, Sue. Appreciate that plug.
I think that's really important is, there's been a lot of discussion like Google research on a concept called psychological safety. And I think that plays into this topic because if you're in an organization that does not have psychological safety or trust, these conversations are going to be very difficult. And so that is another topic that that there's been a lot of research on what kind of environment it needs to be to actually have these conversations to move forward.
Yes. Actually, we had a roundtable on psychological safety, if you go to our website, you could probably find that article. I love, it's very important, psychological safety.
Great call out. So that is an important piece of what we're going to be doing with this space. And just like psychological safety, physical safety is also important. As you can see, I was asked to put the mask on, make sure that everyone's protected in the space I'm in. So any other questions regarding our calendar, our events coming up? Second Thursday of every month, something going on. And excuse me, it's also lunchtime. It'll be lunchtime, noon to 1 or noon to 12:55 as well. Any questions? Head nods, heads yes, heads no. Looking for some sort of response. There we go. Okay. Awesome. Thank you. Well, let's go ahead and wrap a little bit early today. And if anyone wants to stay on, they're welcome to. But we kind of started in this space around what's one good quality that we have about that makes us what's one quality that makes us a good listener. And since we will be doing a lot of listening to our speakers and each other, I invite you to think about this question. How can you be a better listener to things you don't understand? How can you be a better listener to things you don't understand? And whoever would like to go first can, and we'll close out with this.
Hey, Vince.
I'll go first. I think asking a follow-up question to get some more information.
I have a comment about that, how I can be a better listener to things I don't understand. Our new age of technology has just broken through in that now when I'm somewhere where I can't understand something, I can Google up a definition without bothering anybody. So, you know, just I can do some research. And for example, I had to look up allyship, or I'm sorry, I had to look it up. And it's just wonderful how we have this technology that can allow us to look up definitions and what current terms mean.
To some degree, I think it's also trying to withhold as best you can, as best I can, certainly, prejudgment about what they're saying, because usually people have a reasonable basis for what they're saying, even if you don't agree with it. And so trying to understand that is a good strategy for listening better, I think.
Mm-hmm. So I echo much of what has been said. Looking at the pool that is right behind Erwin, kind of think of the ladder of inference and that pool that it's the bottom of the ladder. And so what does it mean to challenge ourselves to be active participants in what goes in that pool, as opposed to passive of, oh, you know, this is just what I happen to be exposed to, and so this is what my opinions are. What does it mean to constantly be looking for that new information?
Of course, Renee, it is a virtual pool. So don't jump in.
I guess I'll go next, just to echo everything that's been said. And also I think perspective has been a key word for today, and just really taking in everyone's perspective and being considerate of that as well.
I will just echo everything as well. Ditto. And Vince, Mr. President, we would just been talking about how important it is to be able to listen to our speakers and learn. And we talked about the qualities that we each have that make us good listeners, and how we're going to bring that in this space with our speakers. So Vince, as we're closing, you have the floor. How can you be a better listener? I'll give you that. You get the last word.
And the question of how I could be a better listener, I don't think we should debate the infinite. That is, there are so many ways I could be a better listener that I think I would bore you the rest of the day. So I can't go there. Other than that sounds like a great goal. And I like the question that was proposed. How do you listen when you don't understand something too? I thought that's a basic conundrum. When I was a kid, my dad told me about King Arthur, and he had a shield that nothing could go through and a sword that could pierce through anything. And I remember my dad saying, you can't have both. You either get the sword that can go through anything, you get the shield that can't be pierced. You can't have both, right? Kind of basic logic. Well, I think at times listening involves at times dealing with that, what do you want to call it? The challenge of trying to understand and trying to listen and make things better. I don't have an answer other than I think that tension kind of is a nice indication that one is alive and learning. So, and that's what ISPI SoCal, nice to see you all. Sorry I was late, I have to go momentarily, but I think that's what we're all about, and would love to see everyone at future meetings.
Well said, Vince. Now that's a great wrap-up message. So, again, I appreciate everyone taking the time to be here today. You're getting 18 minutes back to go grab lunch before any of you maybe have a 1 p.m. meeting. So, thank you so much. April 8th is our first one with Stacy Gordon. Like Preeti said, she's awesome. So looking forward to having you there and welcoming and inviting other folks to attend. So please feel free to send that invitation to others, ISPI SoCal members or not. And, let them know too that it's basically $1 for every event if they join for the annual membership with so many events going on.